Imagine waking up every morning with a dry mouth, feeling dizzy as you get out of bed, dragging through the day with no energy and thinking, well, I guess this is just part of getting older. But what if it's not? What if something as simple and as powerful as water is the missing piece? Every single day, millions of older adults live in a state of silent dehydration without even knowing it. Their bodies are sending out quiet distress signals: confusion, fatigue, constipation, low blood pressure. But instead of connecting the dots, they blame aging. In this video, we're going to uncover what no one is talking about: the real reasons older adults are more likely to become dehydrated, the hidden symptoms that often get misdiagnosed, and the life-changing routines that can restore energy, protect the brain, and reduce serious health risks, all starting with hydration. You'll meet people like Margaret, 83, who was afraid she was developing dementia, until a nurse noticed the problem wasn't memory, it was dehydration. And Robert, 78, who thought his dizzy spells were just normal, but turned out to be warning signs his body was begging for water. This isn't just a video about drinking more water, it's about independence, safety, and quality of life. Stay with us because what you'll learn today could truly change everything. We often think of thirst as a reliable signal that our body will let us know when it needs water. But in older adults, that signal becomes muted, delayed, or even absent. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention (CDC), dehydration is one of the most common causes of hospitalization in seniors, yet it's rarely recognized early. The aging process itself plays a central role. As we grow older, the brain's hypothalamus, the region that detects thirst, becomes less sensitive. The result? By the time an older adult feels thirsty, they may already be significantly dehydrated. But it doesn't stop there. The kidneys, which regulate fluid balance, lose efficiency over time. They become less able to concentrate urine, which means water is excreted even when the body tries to conserve it. Robert, age 78, is a perfect example. He started feeling lightheaded every morning and chalked it up to normal aging. His daughter noticed he barely drank 2 small glasses of water each day, not even enough to support his blood pressure medication. His body wasn't just tired, it was dehydrated, quietly struggling. Then there's Elena, 81. One hot afternoon, she became confused and irritable. Her caregiver suspected a urinary tract infection, and she was right. The cause? Not poor hygiene. Elena had forgotten to drink water for over 36 hours during a heat wave. Her fear of incontinence made her avoid fluids altogether, and that's something we don't talk about enough: the social and emotional reasons behind dehydration. Many seniors reduce fluid intake intentionally because they're afraid of having accidents, or don't want to bother someone to help them get to the bathroom. Others simply find it hard to reach the kitchen, or forget altogether. Now add to that the effect of medications. Diuretics, often prescribed for high blood pressure or heart failure, increase urine output. Laxatives, which many older adults use regularly, can cause both fluid and electrolyte loss. Antidepressants and antipsychotics may impair thirst perception or cause dry mouth, making hydration even harder. The picture becomes clear. Aging doesn't just make people less thirsty. It creates a perfect storm where the body's warning system weakens, while fluid loss accelerates. And the consequences are serious. Dehydration increases the risk of falls, urinary infections, constipation, kidney stones, and even delirium, especially in those with dementia or cognitive decline. But the real danger is how silently it develops. It's not dramatic. It's not always obvious. It's fatigue that lingers, dizziness that's dismissed, a dry mouth mistaken for just the weather. The good news is awareness changes everything. When caregivers, loved ones, and older adults themselves understand how dehydration works, they can prevent it with simple habits. But first, we need to recognize that hydration isn't just a wellness tip, it's a medical priority for healthy aging. Dehydration rarely announces itself with drama. It sneaks in quietly through everyday symptoms that we often ignore or mislabel. Take mild confusion, for example. An older adult starts repeating questions or forgetting familiar names. It's easy to suspect dementia, but many cases of confusion in seniors, especially sudden or fluctuating, are due to nothing more than fluid imbalance. One study published by the National Institutes of Health (NIH) found that mild dehydration can impair short-term memory, focus, and even mood, especially in adults over 65. These symptoms can appear within hours of inadequate fluid intake. Then there's fatigue, a crushing tiredness, especially in the afternoon. Seniors might assume it's just age, but it could be the body's response to lower blood volume and decreased oxygen delivery to muscles and brain. Headaches, dry skin, sunken eyes, muscle cramps, all subtle flags. Even constipation, often treated with fiber or laxatives, is frequently the result of not drinking enough water to begin with. And then there are the more serious signs: rapid heartbeat, low blood pressure when standing, dark, concentrated urine, or a noticeable drop in urination altogether. Catherine, age 85, started feeling shaky and anxious mid-morning. Her hands trembled. Her daughter worried it might be a blood sugar issue, but Catherine hadn't eaten anything salty or drunk any water since dinner the night before. And by late afternoon, she was lightheaded and nearly fell. The culprit? Dehydration, plain and simple. What makes it tricky is that these symptoms often overlap with other conditions, especially in seniors who live with chronic illnesses. A person with Parkinson's might already have low blood pressure. A diabetic might assume fatigue is from glucose fluctuation. A caregiver might mistake dry skin for medication side effects. That's why observation and patterns are key. Has the person's urine become darker over the past day or two? Are they unusually quiet or withdrawn? Are they avoiding fluids, perhaps unconsciously? Have they had a recent infection, fever, or diarrhea? Hydration affects every system in the body, but because the signs are spread across so many systems, neurological, muscular, renal, cardiovascular, it's easy to miss. Caregivers, family members, and even clinicians must learn to connect the dots. What looks like weakness could be dehydration. What feels like sadness or confusion could be the brain's cry for water. What seems like aging might just be thirst. We often hear about hydration in casual terms: drink more water, it's good for you. But what we don't hear enough is how dangerous dehydration truly is, especially for older adults. Dehydration doesn't just cause discomfort, it sets off a chain reaction throughout the body. And when that body is already vulnerable, the results can be devastating. One of the first and most serious risks: falls. When the body lacks fluid, blood pressure drops, especially when standing. This can lead to orthostatic hypotension, which causes dizziness and loss of balance. A study by the National Council on Aging found that dehydration is a contributing factor in up to 15% of falls among adults over 65. And we know, one fall can change everything from independence to long-term mobility. But the dangers go deeper. Urinary tract infections (UTIs) are another common and painful consequence. When there isn't enough water in the body, urine becomes concentrated, allowing bacteria to thrive. In older adults, UTIs can present not just with pain, but with sudden confusion, agitation, or even hallucinations. And then there's the effect on chronic diseases. People with diabetes need stable fluid levels to manage blood sugar. Dehydration can lead to higher glucose concentrations and dangerous fluctuations. Those with heart failure may already be on fluid restrictions, but even slight dehydration can lead to fatigue, shortness of breath, and hospitalization. In people with dementia, even mild dehydration can cause rapid mental decline, increasing restlessness, disorientation, and wandering behavior. Let's not forget the digestive system. Water is essential for moving waste through the intestines. Without it, constipation becomes common, often leading to overuse of laxatives, which in turn worsen dehydration. And what about the emotional toll? Constant fatigue limits social interaction. Brain fog makes conversations harder to follow. Discomfort or urinary issues reduce confidence in leaving the house. For many seniors, it becomes a vicious cycle. I feel tired, so I rest more. I drink less. I eat less. I feel worse. Ellen, 84, used to enjoy her garden, but after a string of urinary infections and a nasty fall, she stopped going outside. Her doctor eventually realized hydration was the root issue. Once she began a daily hydration routine, her energy improved, her mood lifted, and she began walking outdoors again. Hydration affects the brain, the heart, the kidneys, the gut, and the spirit. And while it seems simple, it is foundational. We cannot afford to treat water like a wellness suggestion. For older adults, hydration is medicine and prevention at its most powerful. If hydration is so essential and water is so accessible, why do so many older adults stay dehydrated? The truth is, it's not just forgetfulness. There are real, complex barriers that make staying hydrated difficult as we age. First, let's talk about mobility. For seniors who use walkers, wheelchairs, or live with chronic pain, simply getting up to refill a glass of water can feel like a chore or a risk. A kitchen that's down the hall, a faucet that's hard to reach, a glass placed on a high shelf. These small obstacles add up. Audrey, 86, lives alone and has arthritis in her knees. After falling once while carrying a glass from the kitchen, she started drinking less, not because she wasn't thirsty, but because she was afraid of falling again. Then there's the issue no one wants to talk about: incontinence. Many seniors, especially women, avoid fluids intentionally because they're afraid they won't make it to the bathroom in time. For those with urge incontinence or weak bladder control, staying dry becomes more important than staying hydrated. And ironically, this leads to more health problems. Concentrated urine irritates the bladder, increasing the urgency and frequency of urination, worsening the issue they tried to avoid. Another barrier: cognitive decline. Seniors with dementia or memory loss may forget to drink entirely, forget where they placed their glass, mistake thirst for hunger, or refuse fluids due to confusion or fear. In long-term care homes, Undertrained staff might not notice these patterns unless hydration is actively monitored. Environment also plays a role. Is water visible and easy to access? Are cups lightweight and easy to hold? Are reminders part of the daily routine? Beverage preference is another subtle barrier. Many older adults prefer tea, coffee, or diet sodas. While these can contribute to hydration, they also contain caffeine, which is a mild diuretic and can increase fluid loss. Taste fatigue matters too. Some seniors say water tastes boring, especially for those with reduced taste or dry mouth from medications. Plain water isn't appealing. And let's not forget emotional and social factors. Depression can reduce motivation to drink. Loneliness decreases self-care routines. Some older adults simply don't see hydration as a priority. They've lived years without tracking their water. So why start now? But here's the thing. Every barrier has a solution. It starts with awareness. Then it's about making hydration easy, visible, and emotionally supportive. Because when we address the barriers with compassion and creativity, we restore more than hydration, we restore dignity, comfort, and quality of life. Hydration doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, some of the best solutions are simple, visible, and consistent. So, how much water should an older adult be drinking? While individual needs vary, most experts, including the National Institute on Aging, recommend that older adults aim for around 6 to 8 cups of fluid per day, unless restricted by a medical condition. This can include water, milk, broth, herbal teas, and water-rich fruits. But quantity is only part of the equation. The real challenge is making hydration a habit, one that fits naturally into the person's day. That's where visual cues and repetition come in. Keep a filled water bottle visible in every room, bedside, living room, kitchen. Use bottles with clear volume markings, so it's easy to track intake. Set hourly reminders on a phone, watch, or tablet, or use hydration apps that turn it into a fun, gamified routine. Let's meet Margaret, 83. She used to forget to drink water completely. Her daughter created a hydration map in their home, small color-coded signs in key spots. Water first, then coffee. Before the news, take a sip. Glass with every meal. These visual nudges change everything. Margaret now starts her day with warm water and lemon. She drinks half a glass before each pill, and every afternoon, she enjoys herbal tea in her favorite cup while watching birds from the porch. Hydration became a ritual, not a burden. Another powerful strategy: flavored or infused water. Seniors who dislike plain water can add slices of cucumber, orange, lemon, fresh mint, or basil, a splash of natural fruit juice. These small changes make water feel refreshing and enjoyable again. Also, remember that hydration doesn't only come from liquids. Soups, smoothies, and oatmeal all count. Fruits like watermelon, strawberries, oranges, and grapes are over 90% water. Vegetables like cucumbers, celery, and lettuce are excellent too. For those with mobility issues, consider using lightweight pitchers or insulated mugs with straws that are easier to hold. And for those with cognitive decline, make drinking part of every routine: after brushing teeth, before walks, after using the bathroom. Create hydration charts with stickers or pictures. Involve them in preparing drinks. It builds ownership and memory. Hydration should never feel forced. It should feel empowering, achievable, and even comforting. When we make hydration visible, simple, and personalized, It becomes a source of strength, not a chore. Knowing how to prevent dehydration is powerful, but knowing how to spot it early and act quickly can be life-saving. So how do you know if an older adult is staying hydrated? Let's start with the simplest indicator: urine color. A healthy, well-hydrated person will have light yellow or pale straw-colored urine. Dark amber, strong-smelling, or very limited urine output is a clear sign something is wrong. Other early signs include dry mouth or sticky tongue, headache or lightheadedness, dry, cool skin, sudden fatigue, or sluggishness, mild confusion or irritability. A quick home test is the skin turgor test. Gently pinch the skin on the back of the hand. If it doesn't snap back quickly, it could indicate fluid loss. For caregivers, keeping a hydration log can make a big difference. Track how many cups the person drinks per day. Note any changes in mood, alertness, or toilet habits. Watch for hydration avoidance if they're skipping drinks due to fear of accidents. Technology can help too. Smart water bottles with reminders. Apps that allow family members to track hydration together. Tablets or smart displays with hourly alerts or color-coded goals. But there are also moments when professional help is needed and fast. Call a doctor or visit an urgent care center if you notice very dark or no urine over 12 plus hours, rapid heart rate, or low blood pressure. Dizziness that worsens when standing, confusion or delirium that suddenly appears, weak pulse, cold extremities, or fainting. These can be signs of moderate to severe dehydration, which often requires fluids or hospital care. In long-term care homes, staff should be trained to notice these early red flags, especially in residents with dementia, limited mobility, or those recovering from illness or surgery. Hydration is not just an individual responsibility, it's a shared commitment. Family members, neighbors, caregivers, clinicians all play a role in making sure older adults stay well hydrated and safe. Because every glass of water is more than just a drink, it's a protective step towards strength, clarity, and independence. Water, so simple, so ordinary, and yet, for older adults, it can be the difference between confusion and clarity, fatigue and energy, vulnerability and independence. We've talked about the science, the risks, the symptoms, and the strategies. But beyond all that, hydration is also a profound act of self-care, of valuing your body, your mind, your dignity. For caregivers, hydration is a daily gift of protection. For families, it's a chance to show love in the smallest, most practical way. And for older adults themselves, it's a reminder your well-being is worth the effort. No, you don't need to obsess over every ounce. You just need to start with one simple question each day. Have I had enough water today? A cup in the morning, a sip with each pill, a bottle by your favorite chair, a warm tea shared with a friend. These small moments repeated and remembered are how we age with strength, clarity, and grace. So today, share this video with someone you love. Start a hydration routine together. And know that with every glass, you're not just drinking water, you're choosing life.